The grand training hall of Velthar Academy hummed with power. Blue lights ran through the metal walls like veins, and dozens of alien cadets stood in perfect formation. Their eyes, claws, and metallic limbs all pointed toward the glowing screen at the front. The test was about to begin. The reaction time challenge, one of the hardest trials in the galaxy. For centuries, the Velthar Academy had trained warriors from across the stars. Its halls had seen champions from 100 worlds. But today, a single name whispered among the cadets made them uneasy. A human had been allowed to take the test. No one expected much. Humans were new to the Galactic Union, young, emotional, and fragile compared to other species. Many cadets saw this as entertainment rather than competition. The command hall doors slid open with a hiss. A tall figure walked in, wearing a simple gray training uniform. His steps were quiet, but his presence turned heads. The human's name was Elias Korin. He didn't look impressive. His muscles were lean, his eyes calm, and his movements careful. Too careful, some thought. A group of reptilian cadets chuckled softly. One of them, a scaled officer named Roth Var, whispered, "Let's see how long the soft skin lasts." At the far end of the hall stood Instructor Darrell, a silver-armored being with 4 glowing eyes. He was famous for breaking egos more than training them. His voice echoed through the room, sharp as a blade. "Cadets! The test will measure your reaction speed, focus, and control. Hesitation means failure. Confidence means victory." The lights dimmed. Panels lifted from the floor, revealing a circle of consoles, one for each cadet. Hollow screens hovered above each station, displaying colored patterns and shapes that flashed faster than any normal eye could follow. Instructor Darrell continued, "When the signal appears, you strike the console. Too early, you fail. Too late, you fail. Perfect timing earns you glory." A mechanical voice counted down. "Test begins in 3. Begin." The lights flashed. Dozens of hands, claws, and tentacles shot forward, hitting the glowing panels in a blur. Electric tones echoed as each console registered the reaction time. The first round was over in seconds. Darrell's eyes scanned the results. Acceptable. Begin round 2. The speed increased. Shapes flashed faster, colors mixed. Some cadets started missing their mark. A few cursed under their breath. Others kept perfect rhythm, including Rothvar, who sneered with pride each time his console chimed in perfect sync. Elias stood quietly at his station. His eyes followed the lights, but his hands stayed still. He didn't move even when others reacted. Some laughed. "Is the human sleeping?" Someone muttered. But Elias wasn't sleeping. He was studying. His breathing was slow. His pupils adjusted to each flash. He noticed the subtle pattern, the rhythm hidden behind the chaos. When the 4th round started, the flashes became nearly impossible to track. Even the machines struggled to keep up. Rothvar slammed his hand down again, faster than most, but this time too early. His console buzzed red. "Error. Reaction invalid." The reptilian cadet hissed in frustration. Darrell's voice rang out. "Precision over pride, Cadet Rothvar." The test continued. One by one, cadets failed. Their reaction times slipped below the passing line. Sweat, steam, or sparks filled the air, depending on the species. Soon only 3 remained. Rothvar, a crystalline being named Vexira, and the human. The audience fell silent. Even the automated drones paused their humming. "Final round," Darrell announced. "Maximum difficulty." The floor panels shifted again, and the environment darkened. Only the glowing consoles remained, flickering like stars. Then the system unleashed a storm of color and motion, patterns designed to break concentration. Vexira's crystal fingers trembled as she tried to keep up. Rothvar gritted his teeth, slamming his console with raw speed. Elias didn't move at first. Then, with surgical precision, his hand struck the panel. Once, twice, 3 times. Each hit was perfectly timed. When the light stopped, silence filled the hall. Instructor Darrell turned to the hollow screen showing the scores. His upper eyes narrowed, lower eyes widened. For a moment, even the Academy's central AI hesitated to speak. Then the voice said, "Top score, Elias Korin. Reaction speed, 104 seconds. Margin of error, 0. The hall erupted in disbelief. "No way! Impossible! The human cheated." Rothvar slammed his claw on the floor. "This is a trick. Humans can't even see that fast." But Darrell raised his hand for silence. His 4 eyes glowed brighter than ever as he studied the human. Elias stood calmly, his hand still hovering over the console. There was no arrogance, no fear, just quiet focus. Darrell finally spoke. "No error detected. The system confirms perfect reaction time." He turned toward the crowd. "Cadets, you have witnessed what precision truly means." Elias exhaled slowly, breaking his focus at last. He looked around, dozens of alien faces staring at him, some angry, some amazed, some afraid. Rothvar snarled. "You think you're better than us, human?" Elias met his gaze with a calm expression. "No," he said softly. "I just think differently." The silence that followed was heavier than steel. Darrell broke it with a single command. Test concluded. Record archived. All cadets dismissed. The crowd began to disperse, whispering in confusion. Rumors would spread fast. A human had beaten the best reaction times in the history of Velthar Academy. As the hall emptied, Instructor Darrell watched Elias leave. Something cold and thoughtful flickered in his mechanical eyes. "Interesting," he murmured. "Perhaps the humans are not as limited as we thought." But outside the hall, in the quiet corridors of the academy, another figure was waiting in the shadows. A tall officer with golden armor and sharp crimson eyes. He watched Elias pass by and whispered, "So, this is the one they call the Terran." The academy had just witnessed the beginning of something no one could explain, and it would not end with a simple test. The next morning, the Velthar Academy buzzed with whispers. Every corridor, every mess hall, every simulator room echoed with the same question. How did the human do it? Some cadets claimed the test was hacked. Others said the system must have glitched. No one wanted to believe that a fragile species from the edge of known space could beat the galaxy's finest. Elias Corrin walked through those same corridors, calm as ever. His uniform was the same plain gray, no rank, no medals. Yet when he passed by, alien cadets stopped talking and stared. He could feel their eyes on his back. The academy wasn't used to failure, especially not from its best. Inside the training dome, Instructor Darrell stood before a giant screen filled with data lines. The room was quiet, except for the hum of the scanners that replayed Elias's reaction test in slow motion. Every frame showed the same thing. No error, no lag, no hesitation. Perfect rhythm, perfect control. His neurons fired faster than prediction, one of the assistant drones reported. No artificial enhancement detected. Darrell folded his metallic arms. Then it was not luck. He turned as the door slid open. Elias stepped inside. "You called for me, Instructor?" Darrell's glowing eyes fixed on him. "I did, sit." Elias obeyed, calm as always. "Tell me, human," Darrell said, his voice low and cold. "What are you?" Elias blinked. "Just a cadet, sir." Darrell leaned forward. "Your reaction time was beyond recorded limits. Even the neural reflex of a Threxian warrior cannot reach such precision." "I trained," Elias said simply. "That's all? Trained?" Darrell's voice echoed through the metal walls. "Training cannot break biology." Elias met his gaze, unshaken. "Then maybe our biology is different from what you expected." For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then Darrell straightened, his tone changing. "Very well. There is another test today. One not based on speed, but instinct. You will join the advanced simulation team." Elias nodded slowly. "What kind of simulation?" Darrell's eyes gleamed. "Survival." The training dome transformed. Metal walls shifted, and holographic projectors came alive. A wide jungle appeared. Green mist, alien trees, strange lights moving through the fog. 5 cadets stood waiting inside. Rothvar, Vexira, and 3 others from different species. They all turned when Elias entered. Rothvar smirked. "So the champion joins us." Elias didn't answer. He only checked his wrist device as the simulation countdown began. "Mission objective," the system voice announced. "Retrieve the beacon core, survive until extraction." The world around them solidified. The air smelled of damp soil. In the distance, something howled. The team moved out. Rothvar led the way, his claws ready. Vexira scanned the area with her crystal sensors. Elias stayed quiet, observing their movement, watching how they relied on strength and pride more than caution. Minutes passed before they reached a narrow clearing. The beacon core's signal blinked faintly through the fog. Easy mission, Rothvar grunted. Stay behind, human. Try not to slow us down. But before they could move, the ground shook. Trees split apart as something massive crashed through. A simulation creature, built from the Academy's combat AI. It was called the Devourer, a beast used to test fear response. 4 glowing eyes, metallic fangs, and a roar that froze the air. The cadets panicked. 2 fired plasma bolts too early, missing completely. Rothvar charged forward with a battle cry. The beast's tail struck him hard, throwing him into a tree. "Retreat!" Vexira shouted. Elias didn't move. His eyes followed the creature's motion. Left shoulder tilt, right paw twitch. Pattern again. Every movement had a rhythm. When the creature lunged, Elias rolled aside and pressed his wrist pad. The simulation scanner displayed weak points in blue flashes. He ran forward, sliding beneath its swing, and hit a control node under its chest. The beast froze for a moment, confused by the impact. Then Elias climbed up its side, grabbed a loose panel, and jammed a training spike directly into its neural core. A blinding light burst out. The simulation trembled, and then silence. The Devourer's massive body faded into blue dust. Elias stood there, breathing hard but steady. Around him, the other cadets stared, speechless. Rothvar struggled to his feet, disbelief in his eyes. "You had disabled a level 10 simulation alone?" Elias shrugged. "It had a pattern. I just followed it." The extraction beacon appeared in a pillar of light. Mission complete. Back in the real dome, the simulation faded. The cadets removed their visors, the memory of the fight still burning in their minds. Durrell watched from the command deck, silent as always. His assistant drone turned toward him. "Instructor, the human completed the mission with 93% efficiency. No recorded fear response." Durrell nodded slowly. "So, he learns patterns even in chaos." He turned his gaze to Elias, who stood below, looking calm as if nothing special had happened. That evening, while the Academy slept, a secret meeting took place inside the command tower. 3 senior instructors gathered around a holographic table. One of them, a tall insectoid being named Commander Krith, spoke first. "If this continues, the human will outscore every species in record time." Another replied, "Then promote him to advanced class." But Durrell shook his head. "He doesn't need promotion. He needs understanding. There's something inside him. Not strength, not speed. Something else." Krith tilted his head. "And what do you call it?" Durrell's metallic hand tapped the table softly. "Adaptation." The next morning, Elias woke to a message on his device. "Report to Chamber 7 at dawn, alone." The message bore no name, only the seal of the Command Council. He stared at it for a long moment. Something inside him whispered that this wasn't another test. It was something deeper. Outside his quarters, the twin moons of Velthar shone faintly through the glass. The Academy looked peaceful, but the air carried tension, as if the walls themselves were holding secrets. Elias stood before the mirror, tying his wristband tighter. His reflection looked calm, but his mind wasn't. He had joined the Academy to prove that humans could stand among the stars. But now, it felt like he was walking into something far bigger than a simple test. He exhaled slowly. "All right," he muttered. "Let's see what's next." And as the morning sirens echoed through the Academy halls, Elias stepped out into the light, unaware that what waited inside Chamber 7 would change not just his fate, but humanity's place in the galaxy. The corridor leading to Chamber 7 was silent. The walls were polished metal, reflecting Elias's steady steps. No other cadets were allowed here. This part of the Academy was reserved for high-level trials, secrets, and council decisions. Only the instructors and the Command Council knew its layout. Elias walked with quiet confidence, but inside his mind raced. He had faced impossible reaction tests, survived simulations designed to crush fear, and even impressed the legendary instructor Durrell. But this felt different. It was personal. At the end of the corridor, a single door glowed faintly with blue energy. Symbols in unknown languages shimmered along its edges. As Elias approached, the door slid open silently. The room beyond was dark. Only a faint beam of light highlighted a circular chamber with a low platform in the center. Stepping inside, Elias saw the walls lined with strange artifacts, alien relics, glowing crystals and holographic projectors displaying patterns he had never seen. At first glance, it looked like a museum, but the air hummed with energy. From the shadows, a figure emerged. The being was tall, golden-skinned, with elongated arms and piercing violet eyes. His robes glimmered like liquid metal. "Elias Koran," the figure said, voice echoing through the chamber. "We've been watching you." Elias straightened. "Who are you?" "I am Counselor Thrin. I oversee advanced studies of potential species in the Union." Elias's brow furrowed. "Potential?" Thrin smiled faintly. "Yes, humans. Your species has long been underestimated. Till now, no one truly realized your capabilities." Elias's heart skipped a beat. "So this isn't just a test?" Thrin shook his head. "No, the test was merely a measure. What we seek is understanding. Why you react differently. Why your mind adapts so quickly. Why you succeed where others fail." Elias glanced at the room again. Each relic pulsed with faint energy. Some objects floated, held in place by fields he could not comprehend. Holographic symbols changed as he moved, almost as if the room was alive. "Step onto the platform," Thrin commanded. Elias hesitated, then obeyed. The platform's surface lit up beneath his feet. A soft hum filled the air, vibrating through his bones. "This room," Thrin continued, "records not just actions but intentions, thought patterns, and reactions at a level the Academy has never reached before. Here you will be studied." Elias's eyes widened slightly. "Studied? Not as an experiment," Thrin said, "but as a key. Humans may hold the secret to adaptation itself, something we have sought for centuries. Your performance in the Academy proves this potential, but it is not enough to survive simulations. We must understand why." Elias remained silent. His thoughts raced. He had always trained to be fast, smart, precise, but he had never imagined that the Academy itself, and even the Council, would be curious about him. Thrin waved a hand. Holographic screens appeared around the room. Streams of data flowed like rivers of light, showing sequences of tests, cadet performance charts, neural scans, and brainwave patterns. Among them, Elias's own reaction tests glowed in bright gold. "Your brain's neural adaptation is exceptional," Thrin said. "You process patterns, anticipate outcomes, and react in ways we cannot fully explain. Your species has the rare ability to learn at rates faster than any recorded organism in the Union." Elias swallowed. "So, humans are special?" Thrin nodded. "Potentially, but potential is fragile. We cannot allow it to remain untapped or uncontrolled. That is why you are here." The chamber shifted. Panels moved, revealing a smaller inner room. Inside was a simple console and a chair. "Sit," Thrin said. "We want to observe your decision-making under extreme conditions. This will not be a normal test. It will challenge your instincts, morality, and adaptability." Elias hesitated. "Morality?" "Yes," Thrin replied. "Sometimes survival requires more than speed or strength. It requires choices. Choices that could alter the balance between species. Decisions that the galaxy itself will remember." Elias stepped forward cautiously. The chair felt warm, alive almost. When he sat, holographic images filled the room. Landscapes shifting, strange creatures appearing and disappearing, light bending unnaturally. Each scenario was more chaotic than the last. "Your first task," Thrin's voice continued, "is to save a team trapped in a collapsing structure. Time is short. The wrong choice and they will perish." The holographic scene materialized in front of Elias. He saw cadets, a mix of aliens, trapped under falling debris. A flashing timer counted down in the corner. He could attempt to lift the debris himself, or use the environment's controls to redirect energy, or even call for automated rescue drones. Each choice carried risk. Elias's mind raced. He analyzed the patterns: weight of debris, stability of beams, positions of trapped cadets, timing of energy surges. His hands moved instinctively, selecting the optimal plan. As he executed his decision, the scene changed. New obstacles appeared, testing him further, some impossible at first glance. But Elias adapted. Every reaction, every calculation, every choice flowed naturally. After several minutes, the simulation ended. The chamber's walls dimmed, leaving only the golden light from Thrin. "Remarkable," Thrin said softly. "Your instincts, your reasoning, You see patterns where others see chaos. This is not just skill. It is evolution in action. Elias exhaled slowly. I didn't know this was a test of more than speed. Few do, Thrin replied, and fewer survive it with their minds intact. But you are different. You adapt, and more importantly, you endure. The Golden Counselor stepped closer, his eyes studying Elias intently. Understand this, human. The Academy's tests were only the beginning. The galaxy is watching. Species that cannot adapt will fall, and species like yours have the power to change everything. Elias felt a mixture of pride and unease. He had trained for speed, for precision, for survival. But now he realized that the true test had only begun. Prepare yourself, Thrin said. The next challenge will not be within the Academy walls. It will be in the stars, where the unknown waits. And it will decide the place of humans in this galaxy. As Elias left Chamber 7, his mind was alive with thoughts. His hands clenched, not in fear but in determination. He had always wanted to prove humanity's worth. Now he understood that the stakes were far higher than he had imagined. The shadows of the Academy stretched long across the halls. Somewhere the other cadets whispered about him, fear, envy, curiosity, all mixing into a storm of doubt and admiration. Elias looked up at the ceiling. The twin moons of Velthar glimmered outside, casting pale light across the polished floors. He whispered to himself, "If this galaxy wants to see what humans are, then I'll show them." The following morning, Velthar Academy was unusually quiet. The cadets trained, yet whispers of Elias's abilities spread like wildfire. The corridors that had once echoed with laughter now carried nervous murmurs. Every cadet who had witnessed the humans' performance knew one truth: nothing would be the same again. Elias, however, walked through the halls with his usual calm. His mind was focused not on the rumors but on what awaited him. The message from Counselor Thrin had instructed him to meet at the outer docks of the Academy at dawn, alone. When he arrived, a small, sleek spacecraft waited. Its metallic surface shimmered under Velthar's twin suns. There were no markings, no insignias, no identifiers. Only a single message floated on the control panel. Board. The mission begins now. Elias climbed inside. The cabin was minimalistic. A control console, a few monitors, and a seat that seemed designed to fit him perfectly. As he strapped in, the doors sealed with a hiss. "Destination coordinates uploaded," a calm mechanical voice said. The spacecraft lifted silently, hovering over the Academy grounds before shooting into the sky. Elias watched the forests and mountains of Velthar fade beneath him. Beyond the atmosphere, stars stretched endlessly. For the first time, he felt the vastness of space, the unknown that awaited him. The ship's internal display lit up with information. A holographic map showed a remote system on the edge of the galaxy. Several red markers blinked along the path, indicating potential threats. "Mission objective," the mechanical voice said. "Investigate disturbances in Sector 7 Gamma. Report findings. Neutralize hostiles if necessary." Elias's brow furrowed. "Hostiles?" he asked aloud, though he already suspected what he would face. "Unknown entities detected. Advanced threat level. Proceed with caution," he nodded. This was no ordinary mission. This was a test, and not just of reaction speed, but of strategy, adaptability, and judgment. Hours passed as the spacecraft glided through the void. Elias studied the starfield, the red markers, and the sensor readings. He was learning the interface quickly, faster than any cadet before him might have. His fingers moved over the console, calculating trajectories, potential enemy positions, and escape routes. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. Sensors detected multiple incoming objects. Red blips surrounded the vessel, alien fighters moving with calculated precision. Elias's heart didn't race. His mind sharpened. He initiated evasive maneuvers, twisting the ship like a blade slicing through darkness. Each movement had to be perfect. One miscalculation and the craft would be shredded. The alien ships fired. Beams of plasma streaked past the hull. Elias dodged them, weaving through a meteor belt for cover. His neural patterns adjusted in real time, predicting enemy trajectories, calculating angles, and striking only when there was no risk. For several minutes, it was a deadly dance. Then, Elias spotted a pattern. The ships moved in a predictable rhythm, almost like the simulations back at the academy. His lips curled into a faint smile. So predictable, he muttered. Using the environment to his advantage, Elias lured the ships into the asteroid field. One by one, they collided or misfired. Only a single ship remained, circling cautiously. Elias activated the targeting system and disabled its engines with a precision strike. The alien fighter floated inert in the void. Mission success. After the confrontation, the spacecraft entered orbit around a small, rocky planet. Its surface was scorched, barren, and dotted with strange metallic structures. Landing sequence initiated, the ship's voice said. Elias piloted the craft down carefully. The landing pads of the structure shimmered as the ship touched down, seals locking automatically. He stepped out, and the air felt heavier than Velthar's atmosphere. The structures were old, abandoned, remnants of a civilization that had once ruled this sector. Holographic lights flickered, revealing symbols similar to those he had seen in Chamber 7. A low hum echoed through the ruins. Elias scanned the area, weapon at the ready, though he didn't know what he might face. Then movement, subtle, almost imperceptible. Shadows shifted among the ruins. Figures stepped into the light, tall, armored, and silent. Their eyes glowed faintly red. "You shouldn't be here," one of them said. Elias didn't flinch. "I was sent by the Council. I'm here to investigate." The figure tilted its head. "The Council sends a human to us?" "I am not just a human," Elias said calmly. "I adapt, I learn. I survive." A tense silence fell. Then the figures moved aside, revealing a corridor leading deeper into the structures. "Very well," the first figure said. "Follow, and we will see if your words are true." Inside, the corridors twisted and turned. Strange devices pulsed with energy. Elias noticed patterns in the symbols on the walls, patterns his brain instantly began decoding. Each step he took revealed more about the structure's design, defenses, and purpose. Finally, they reached a large chamber. At its center was a glowing orb, suspended in mid-air, emitting waves of energy that caused the walls to shimmer. "The source of the disturbances," the figure said. "Touch it and you may unlock answers. Or destroy yourself." Elias approached cautiously. His mind raced. Was this a test, a trap, or a key to understanding why humans could adapt in ways no other species could? He extended his hand, feeling the energy ripple against his skin. Images flashed in his mind. Ancient battles, star systems collapsing, beings rising and falling. The orb contained knowledge, power, and danger beyond imagination. Elias drew back slightly. "So this is why the Council sent me." The figures nodded silently. "Humans see the world differently. Perhaps only you can survive what comes next." Elias inhaled slowly, steadying himself. He realized that this mission was more than a test of skill. It was a test of courage, choice, and destiny. As he reached out again, the energy of the orb flowed into him. Patterns, sequences, and knowledge filled his mind. He understood in an instant what would take others years to learn. He saw threats, allies, and hidden opportunities across the galaxy. But one thought burned in his mind. He was not here just to survive. He was here to lead, to protect, and to prove that humans could stand among the greatest species of the Union. The chamber pulsed. The lights grew brighter, and Elias knew the journey had only just begun. Outside, the twin sons of Velthar were long gone. Darkness surrounded the academy, but Elias's path had been illuminated by instinct, by adaptation, and by the undeniable power of the human spirit. The orb's energy still thrummed through Elias's body as he exited the alien chamber. His mind raced, not with fear, but with clarity. Patterns, calculations, and strategies flowed through him faster than he could speak. He understood now why the Council had chosen a human. He could adapt in ways no one else could. Outside, the rocky planet stretched before him, barren but alive with danger. Shadows moved in the distance. The wind, or whatever passed for wind here, carried a faint metallic scent. Elias knew he wasn't alone. Then he saw them. Figures stepped out from behind jagged cliffs. They were unlike anything he had faced before, tall, spindly, and armored with black plates that shimmered like oil. Their eyes glowed deep crimson. They didn't speak. They only advanced, synchronized, and silent. Elias raised his hand. "All right," he whispered. "Let's see what you're made of." The first creature lunged, moving with terrifying speed. Elias had only a fraction of a second to react. His body moved on instinct, diving to the side, rolling over rocky terrain, and firing a precision beam from the compact plasma pistol he carried. The shot hit its shoulder joint, sending it stumbling. But there were more. 5, 10, 20 creatures swarming toward him. Their movements were deliberate, almost like a hunting pattern. Every angle he tried, they adjusted. He realized that brute force would not work here. He had to predict them. Elias studied their rhythm. Each movement, each pause, each attack had a pattern. Faint, subtle, but there. His heart didn't race. His mind did. Timing, positioning, anticipation. He began to weave through them like water flowing around obstacles, striking only when there was no risk. A creature leapt from a cliff above, aiming to land directly on him. Elias rolled forward, feeling the impact of the landing shake the ground where he had been seconds before. Using the momentum, he launched a small energy grenade into the center of the advancing group. A brilliant flash erupted, temporarily blinding the attackers. In that moment, Elias sprinted toward the largest formation of creatures. His eyes scanned for weak points, joints, gaps in the armor, misalignments in their advance. He struck again and again, precise, calculated, deadly. One of the creatures hesitated, its head tilted slightly, a recognition perhaps of Elias's skill. Then it surged forward with renewed aggression. Elias barely dodged, rolling under its claw and striking its leg. Sparks flew. It faltered and then withdrew. The others, seeing their companion retreat, became cautious. The balance of fear and respect had shifted in an instant. Elias realized something. The creatures were intelligent. They weren't mindless machines. They could learn, but only if someone pushed them to the limit. Suddenly, a bright beam of energy struck the ground near Elias. The planet itself seemed unstable. Cracks appeared in the rocky terrain. He jumped aside just in time as the earth split open, revealing a glowing chasm of molten energy. Elias adjusted quickly. He could either continue fighting the creatures or use the environment to his advantage. He noticed a series of natural formations, jagged stones and arches that created a funnel toward the chasm. If he lured the creatures into that path, he could trap them without unnecessary combat. He ran. The creatures followed, blindly confident in their speed. Elias led them through the jagged corridor. At the perfect moment, he activated a series of energy fields he had discovered while exploring the ruins earlier. The creatures collided with the fields, momentarily stunned, then tumbled into the glowing chasm. Silence fell. Only the hum of the planet and the faint echo of molten rock filled the air. Elias exhaled slowly, his body tense but controlled. He had survived. Hours later, the spacecraft arrived to extract him. Elias boarded silently, the adrenaline still flowing through his veins. The orb's energy pulsed faintly, reminding him of the responsibility he now carried. Humans were rare, fragile, but adaptable. He was a bridge between species, a living proof that humanity could survive in this galaxy. Back at Velthar Academy, whispers had turned into awe. Cadets and instructors alike spoke of the human who had faced the unknown and survived. Rothvar avoided Elias's gaze. Vexira merely nodded. Respect silently granted. Daryl observed from his tower, silent as always. He had predicted much, but even he hadn't fully expected this level of adaptability. Interesting, Darrell murmured. The human doesn't just survive, he evolves. Elias knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and threats were endless. He had proven himself in simulations and against alien attackers. But true tests awaited. Tests that would challenge not only his speed and precision, but his judgment, leadership, and humanity. As the twin moons of Velthar rose once more, casting pale light over the academy, Elias looked toward the stars. Somewhere out there, danger waited, and somewhere, humanity's future awaited him. He clenched his fists. I will not fail, not now, not ever. The academy had taught him much, but the galaxy would teach him more. And Elias Corrin was ready. The hall of the Galactic Council was unlike anything Elias had seen. Towering walls of crystal reflected the dim light of countless stars outside, casting flickering patterns across the polished floor. Hundreds of representatives from dozens of species were seated in elevated platforms around a massive circular chamber. The air was tense. Whispers of disbelief and curiosity filled the space. All eyes were on the human. Elias walked steadily down the central corridor, his gray uniform simple, almost understated. He had faced impossible simulations, deadly alien predators, and lethal landscapes, but nothing prepared him for the weight of this moment. The council wasn't just instructors, mentors, or observers. These beings held the power to decide the fate of species, planets, and entire star systems. At the head of the chamber sat High Counselor Varin, a luminescent being with 3 eyes and scales that shimmered like liquid sapphire. His voice echoed throughout the hall. Elias Corrin of Earth, you have completed tests no other cadet could endure. You have survived simulations, alien assaults, and challenges that were designed to break even the strongest minds. Yet your species remains unproven on the galactic stage. Today, you will answer not just for yourself, but for humanity. Elias stood before the council platform. He remained calm, his posture straight, his eyes steady. This was not the moment for fear. This was the moment for proof. High Counselor Varin, Elias said, his voice even. I am ready to answer your questions. A murmur ran through the chamber. Many counselors had doubted the humans, seeing them as fragile, unpredictable, and weak. But now that doubt was challenged. Very well, Varin said. The first question is simple yet critical. Why should the Union trust humans? You are young in the galaxy. You are few in number. You are limited in physical strength and resources compared to other species. Why should we grant your kind a place among us? Elias paused for a moment, considering his words. He knew this answer could shape humanity's future. Then he spoke. Strength is not always measured in size or numbers. Humans adapt, learn, and endure. We face impossible odds and still rise. The tests at Velthar Academy were just the beginning. In simulations, I've learned patterns, predicted outcomes, and survived situations others deemed impossible. Humanity survives because we evolve, we learn. We do not fear change, we embrace it. That is why we belong. The chamber was silent. Not a single counselor spoke. Elias could feel their scrutiny like a tangible weight pressing down. Then another counselor, Commander Krith, the insectoid officer who had previously voiced concern, leaned forward. His voice was sharp, almost skeptical. Adaptation alone is not enough. Survival is one thing, but will humans act wisely under pressure? Can you make decisions that protect not just yourselves, but others? A single reckless action could doom countless worlds. Can your kind handle that responsibility? Elias's jaw tightened. He had faced the unknown countless times, but this question required more than instinct. It required vision. I have faced chaos, Commander Krith, he said, and I have learned to see order within it. Every challenge, every threat, every enemy, and there is a pattern. Not all can be predicted, but all can be understood. I will act with precision, intelligence, and caution. Humanity may be young in the galaxy, but we think differently. We calculate, adapt, and endure. You will see. If given the chance, humans will rise to any challenge. Another pause. Then Counselor Thrin stood, his golden robes gleaming. He had guided Elias through the hidden chamber and the secret mission. I have observed this human in simulations, in combat, and in challenges that test mind, body, and spirit. He adapts beyond expectation. He survives where others fail. But more than that, he has the will to learn, to understand, to lead. Humans may be underestimated, but underestimate them at your own risk. Elias represents the potential of his species, a potential we cannot ignore. Varin's 3 eyes shifted as if weighing every word. He leaned forward. Very well. Humanity will not be judged solely by words. We have seen what this human can do. But can he lead others? Can he inspire? Can his kind stand united when faced with threats that span light years? For that, we must set the ultimate test. Not for him, but for humanity itself. Elias's heart remained steady, though adrenaline surged faintly. He had expected challenges, simulations, and trials, but a test for an entire species. That was something new. The Union faces a threat on the Outer Rim. Unknown entities attacking colonies, disrupting trade, and challenging peace. The Academy alone cannot stop them. We need leaders. Humans, if you wish to claim your place in the galaxy, You must prove that your species can act decisively, with courage, and with unity. A holographic map lit up the chamber, displaying countless star systems marked in red. Entire colonies were under threat. The weight of the decision pressed down on Elias, but he did not flinch. "I understand," he said. "Humanity will not fail. We will adapt, survive, and rise to meet the challenge. I will lead, and we will succeed." The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Vrin's voice, calm but filled with authority, echoed, "Very well. The Council grants humanity a chance. One trial, one opportunity to prove that your kind is worthy of the stars. Fail, and your species will remain in obscurity, limited to the edge worlds. Succeed, and humans will take their place among the most advanced civilizations of the Union." Elias straightened. He understood the stakes now. The trials, the simulations, the secret missions, they had all led to this moment. Humanity's future rested not just on his speed, his skill or his instincts, but on his judgment, strategy, and ability to inspire others. As the council chamber began to empty, Elias looked out at the holographic map. Red markers flickered like warning lights. The outer rim waited. Unknown enemies, vast in number and cunning, threatened peace across the galaxy, and he would face them. "This is only the beginning," Elias whispered to himself. "Humanity will not be ignored. Humanity will not fall, and I will make sure of it." Outside the chamber, the twin moons of Velthar hung low in the sky. The Academy, the Council, and the galaxy itself watched, waiting to see what humans could do. Elias Karan had survived the impossible, but now survival alone was not enough. Leadership, strategy, and courage would be required. The true test had only begun. The stars stretched endlessly as Elias Karan's fleet approached the outer rim. The distant red lights of enemy ships glimmered like warning sparks across the void. Each vessel was sleek, deadly, and unlike anything recorded in the Union's databases. These were the unknown, the untested, the threat that had forced the Council to act. Elias stood on the bridge of the lead ship, the weight of humanity's fate pressing on him. Around him, humans and allied cadets worked in perfect coordination. The simulations, the Academy trials, the hidden chambers, all had led to this moment. Humanity was finally in the galaxy spotlight, and there would be no second chance. Sensors report multiple targets approaching at high velocity. Lieutenant Mara, a seasoned human officer, said, "Enemy formation is tight. They're attacking in waves," Elias nodded. "Prepare defensive grids. Target their weak points, not their numbers. Speed alone won't win this. Precision and adaptation will." The first wave hit with a deafening roar. Red beams streaked across the void, colliding with shields and sending sparks flying. Elias watched calmly, analyzing the enemy's rhythm. They were aggressive but predictable. He instructed his fleet to move in synchronized arcs, forcing the attackers into tight zones where their numbers became a disadvantage. In the chaos, a massive enemy flagship emerged, larger than any vessel in the Union. Its energy weapons swept across the fleet, tearing through shields like paper. Human ships faltered. Cadets panicked. "We need a strategy," Elias said, voice steady. "Distract the flagship. Lead it toward the asteroid field. We'll use the terrain to even the odds." The fleet hesitated. Human pilots were skilled, but no one had faced this scale of threat. Elias climbed into the command chair, activating his personal ship's advanced targeting systems. He would lead the maneuver himself. "Follow my lead," he ordered. "Trust me, adapt, survive." The fleet surged. Elias's ship dove toward the enemy flagship, drawing its attention. Red beams scorched past his hull. He dodged, rolled, and countered with precise energy blasts, targeting weak points in the flagship's armor. Behind him, human ships and allied cadets followed, weaving through asteroid clusters that turned the battlefield into a deadly labyrinth. The enemy vessels struggled to maintain formation. Their precision faltered. Elias noticed a pattern in the flagship's weapon cycles, a fraction of a second where energy output dropped. Timing was everything. He spoke into the comms. "All units aim for synchronized strikes on the flagship's dorsal cores when it cycles down. Fire simultaneously. Count 3, 2, 1. A chorus of energy blasts erupted. The flagship shuddered. Sparks, metal, and fire exploded across its hull. The enemy vessels faltered. Some retreated. Others were destroyed. The battle was far from over. Multiple waves of attackers emerged from hidden sectors, faster and more numerous than the first. Cadets and human ships began to tire. Supplies dwindled. Shields flickered. Elias remained calm. He had trained for this. Every simulation, every trial, every test in the academy had prepared him for moments like this. "Remember your training," he shouted. "Predict, adapt, survive. Do not panic." The fleet adjusted formations instantly, following his guidance. He led them through narrow asteroid belts, using gravitational anomalies to destabilize the enemy. One by one, ships found openings, striking key points in the alien formation. Hours passed. The stars became streaks of motion. Energy beams collided, and explosions lit the void like fireworks. The enemy numbers dwindled. Their flagship faltered again, systems sparking and weapons failing. Elias knew it was the final moment. He activated a concentrated plasma pulse from his own vessel, firing directly at the flagship's central core. The pulse hit perfectly, tearing through the hull, energy systems, and engines. The flagship exploded in a brilliant flash, followed by a shockwave that destroyed the remaining enemy vessels. Silence fell. The fleet floated among the wreckage, stunned but victorious. Human ships reported minimal casualties. Cadets and allied species looked at Elias with awe and newfound respect. "They did it," Mara whispered. "The human led them all." Elias's eyes scanned the void. No joy, no arrogance, only focus. Humanity had survived, but the galaxy was vast, and challenges would continue. Then, communication from the Galactic Council came through. "Elias Corrin," High Counselor Vrin's voice boomed. "Your actions have exceeded all expectations. You have not only led your fleet to victory, but demonstrated strategic insight, courage, and adaptability that surpass even the finest cadets of the Academy. Humanity has earned its place in the Union. Respect is granted. Honor is recognized. And the galaxy has taken note." The bridge erupted in cheers. Humans hugged each other. Cadets from other species saluted Elias, and allies nodded in approval. Even former skeptics like Rothvar had to acknowledge the humans' exceptional leadership. Elias remained composed. "This victory is not just mine," he said, addressing the crew. "It is humanity's, and it is proof that we can rise, adapt, and survive anywhere in this galaxy. But it is also a reminder. The universe will always test us. We must remain vigilant, united, and ready." The Council's announcement echoed in the chambers of Velthar Academy and across the stars. Reports of the battle and the human who led it spread rapidly. For the first time, other species began to see humans not as weak, but as formidable, adaptable, and unstoppable when united. Elias stepped onto the observation deck, staring out at the stars. The twin moons of Velthar rose in the distance, casting pale light across the academy. He breathed deeply. Humanity had earned respect, but the journey was far from over. Somewhere in the distant corners of the galaxy, threats waited. Unknown entities, mysterious civilizations, and challenges beyond imagination would rise. But now, Elias knew that humanity could face them, not with brute force alone, but with intelligence, adaptation, courage, and determination. He clenched his fists and whispered to himself, "We have earned respect. Now we will claim our place among the stars." And in that moment, humanity's story truly began, not as fragile outsiders, but as a species that could rise, endure, and shape the galaxy itself. The Academy, the Council, and the galaxy had witnessed it all. A human had stepped forward, and the impossible had been made real. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and Elias Corrin walked into the future, ready to face whatever came next.